the Town of Woodbridge monthly Board of Finance meeting for Thursday, November 15th, 2012. And the first item on our agenda is public comments, and seeing no one, we'll move on to item 2, which is Director of Finance and Operations report. Tony.
Okay. Your monthly reports through October of 2012. There's a slight surplus of $18,000, which gives us a projected fund balance of $4.64 million, or 11% of the budget. A couple of highlights for you on our revenue section. We received a one-time distribution from the revenue sharing grant for the state from the sales tax formula. That's about $60,000. And our latest projection is the same as last month, which is $70,000 shortfall in revenues from the golf courses. The projection through the end of fiscal year 13. Once we the membership drive is up on the 30th of November, so for next month we'll have a better handle on at least that portion of the revenue stream. So that's where we are with the golf course. Workers' compensation, there's a projected deficit of $56,000. That's the heart and hypertension claims we discussed at the last meeting. We're hopeful that we can offset that with the police budget, or a portion of the police budget. So we're going to continue to monitor that. And as we discussed at the last meeting, the Amities will have a surplus of $85,000 in that budget. One final note for you. We have already met preliminarily with FEMA, and this being the third time we've had to do this in about a year, we've gotten pretty good at it, actually. So we know what information they're going to be requesting, how to present the information. Our reporting procedures are much more streamlined, but they have indicated that we had a pre-meeting, which is basically each town meets to determine the extent of the damage and whether or not it'll be covered, at what percentage it'll be covered, 100%, 70%, 80%. There's all formulas to derive all that sort of stuff. And so we're hopeful that, we're pretty confident that will be some sort of reimbursement for supplies, contracted services, overtime, vehicle use, that sort of thing, similar to the last storm. So that is beginning to move forward. And that's about it.
I think just to take that a step further, I think the town owes a debt of gratitude to our police, fire, public works, human services, etc., for doing such a fantastic job during the storm. I think the roads were cleared as quickly as you can imagine. And, overall, I think things went very well. I think we should note that. Status of the 2012 audit.
The auditors finished their field work, and so there's a few last minute items, just sort of finishing up fixed assets, and then they also just as a point of information, they did the same water procedures on the golf course that they do on our books. So it's the same audit, with the sampling and the testing and the bank recs and the the cash confirmations and the variance testing and all the sort of things that they do on ours. They did on that also, and we're hopeful for a draft the week after Thanksgiving.
Good.
That's our goal. And we're required to have an audit submitted 6 months after the close of the fiscal year, so we have to submit one to the state, to OPM, by the 31st of December. So we'd like to make sure we have it done well in advance of that, so we're not like trying to get it finished after the holidays. So that's where we are.
And just an FYI, you have your black capital budget requests book, and we're meeting on Thursday, November 29th, which is 2 weeks from tonight, and the following Tuesday, December 4th. You're gonna have certain ones come in, and
yeah, I'll email the. We just finalized the schedule, so
okay.
I'll email it out.
okay. So just keep those open if you can.
Board of Ed is going to be on the first night.
Okay.
And we like with last time, we schedule all the major departments. If a department has 1 or 2 items,
Yeah.
we figured you would do it during their operating budget.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else, Tony?
Nope, that's it.
That's it. Okay. Next, we have funding requests, and there are 4, I believe. The first is a line item transfer within the Human Services Department, coming from their gas line item to repair and maintenance, to cover some repairs and new tires for the vehicle. So I'll move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-07 in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next is another line item transfer within the police department for $3,164, and I guess they sold ammunition from their old guns.
Correct.
And they're buying ammunition for their new guns.
Right.
So basically, we're transferring the revenue from the sale of the old bullets.
Right,
For the
to
purchase
off,
of the
right,
new bullets.
correct, so you're basically
I guess they
authorizing.
sold 40 caliber ammo and they bought 45 caliber
right.
ammo, so. And it's exactly the amount that they sold it for, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that's pretty much of an exchange, so I'll move acceptance of line item transfer 1213-08 in the amount of $3,164.
Second.
Any questions, comments, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Okay. Next is a request for funding from our contingency fund in the amount of $15,700 for installation of piping for the conversion to natural gas at the library, center building, and town hall. And I'll move acceptance of request for funding 1213-09 in the amount of $15,700.
Second.
Anything on that?
We received 6 bids.
Okay.
This was the low bid, and I thought I would take it from contingency for now, and we'll see how the year progresses in terms of the savings and the conversion and all that sort of thing, and if there's any money funds in any of the oil accounts, you could always transfer it
Replenish
back.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And when will this actually take place then?
So we have all the equipment, which you did last time.
Mhm.
So the contractor will hopefully be in the next week or so, and we'll begin the progress. And hopefully have them, first one would probably be the library, I would imagine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, town hall and the center building, there's 2 drops. So it'll cover those 4 initially.
Well, the center building will just be the police department because they have a much smaller heating unit.
Right.
The front of the center building will be in the spring because those are 2 Titanics that have been sitting there.
Okay.
And when you order them, it takes a mere 14 to 16 weeks to get them. So
Okay.
we've passed that season.
So how long does it take to convert the actual boilers, I guess?
The smaller ones, they can get it done in a day or 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The library,
Wow.
Yeah.
we can, with the library, and I've already cleared this with the director, Todd Fagan, it will not bother the library to be open, people in the library while they're doing the work, so. which
That's
is good.
amazing.
And if there's 2 burners, you'll have one on oil while they pipe the one with the gas. When that's piped, they shut the one with the oil off, burn the one with the gas.
Okay, that's
what we
great.
do, yeah.
Now, what's our plan if we have leftover oil in our oil tanks? Are we going to burn that up first before we start?
Yeah,
the
that we're
gas?
sort of trying to,
Okay.
we're not on automatic delivery now, so we're trying to manage that.
Okay.
So we don't order too much, and we can always, you know, use it until we get it as low as
Mhm.
possible. So we're hopeful that won't be a big problem.
Okay.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. And finally, we have a line item transfer within the police department for $14,785, and I guess the IT person retired?
Yes,
Who's handling that?
Yep, so I'll give you some background on this. The IT, we had a network administrator dispatcher at the police department. And that position was paid more than a regular dispatcher. And part of the duties was for computer coordination. And we took this opportunity to reorganize the operation and contract out the IT services to the same firm that the town uses to better streamline our IT operations, and there's more economies by the, have the same schedules, the same procedures. We've talked about this before. This has come up before on this board, I know, with computers. So that's the idea here. So the money from the salary line of the administrative dispatcher will be transferred as a request to their IT data processing line to pay our consultant to help them. They have an officer there who will coordinate it, and is the in-house coordinator for it, but it's not like the IT network administrator. He's just sort of making sure that everything's working properly and knows who to call when there's a problem. Similarly, like what Karen and I do. If we have a problem, you know, we could sort of diagnose what the problem is and then call for assistance. So it'll be much more efficient and than just hire a regular dispatcher.
Was there any way, Tony, to actually spend less money than what we were paying for the individual? I mean,
That's our hope.
what is the basis of? Is this an hourly rate?
Oh,
Is this,
sure. This is for an hourly rate for when they'll need them. In other words, you pay by the hour for services, and then it also includes coverage for you know, the certain functions like the firewall and the virus protection and stuff. But it's mostly an hourly rate.
Okay, so it's based on what we use as opposed to saying we will now just spend all this money on.
Correct.
Okay, the
correct.
value.
These tickets. So the more
that's
efficient
great.
you become,
Yep.
the less you use.
Sure.
But
Okay.
you'll see our IT budget hasn't gone up probably very much for that service in several years, just because we're more efficient
Okay,
and when we call and you know, that sort of thing.
great.
So is the 14,785 the amount of the salary that we were paying to the network administrator?
That's the difference between what the regular dispatcher would get and the network administrator would get. It's probably close.
But based
What's the
on
difference?
the way that the outsourced services are going to be used, the full 14,785 may well not be required.
Correct.
Right.
That's absolutely
Right.
correct.
Okay. Since
That's
it's
just what I wanted.
yeah.
Okay,
That's
thank
absolutely
you.
correct.
Right.
Got it.
So there's actually still a dispatcher then who's there. We're not reducing FTEs.
Correct.
Really.
Right.
Okay.
There'll still be a dispatcher.
Okay.
So they're gonna replace the dispatcher, but they're gonna sub out the,
Computer
The
piece.
IT
IT
piece.
service.
Right.
Okay, now I get it.
Correct.
anything else? All those in favor? Aye?
There was no second on that.
Oh, there's no second? Second, Mike seconds. And that is it for funding requests. Okay, next we have approval of our minutes, and these are the minutes of our monthly meeting of October 18th, 2012, and I will move acceptance of the minutes as presented. Would you like to second that?
I'll second that, but
Okay.
I feel like we need to rework a little bit the description of Jeff's presentation.
Okay.
And we don't need to do that, you know, as a group.
Okay.
But I think that we could be a little clearer in terms of what was he presenting, what will the different groups do, because it was a little confusing in terms of reading this. So that's just my suggestion.
Anything else? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
Abstain.
Okay. 402. Okay. Next, we have a list of proposed meeting dates for 2013. Do we need a motion on this, or just, all
You want just to look at it next one, we can.
right,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, just look these over and we'll talk about it. And next, recently arrived, I thought it was gonna be Clint Eastwood up here. Our first selectman,
Turned out all right, though, didn't it?
came right on time, Ed.
All right.
That saved me.
Okay, well, since we last met, on October 20th, I attended the 100th birthday of the JCC. Congresswoman DeLauro and Mayor DeStefano were also there, had a chance to speak and enjoy the festivities. And of course, they were, the JCC helped us out during the recent storm, opening their facilities for showers and for electrical devices. And so we're very appreciative of them and congratulate them on their 100th birthday and thanking them for moving to Woodbridge. November 11th was Veterans Day. We had a ceremony on the green, thanks to Joe Hellauer, who organized that, and we had a very good turnout. You probably noticed that the house, which had been boarded up on 118 Ansonia Road, has been demolished.
Yeah, it's good.
So hopefully the neighbors are happy with that. Our former fire marshal has paid $17,000 to the town in terms of in accordance with the settlement agreement we've reached. And so there's a remaining balance of $9,000, which will be paid over 2 years. And in regard to the fire marshal's position, that's been advertised, and the resumes are to be submitted by December 7th. The committee has been formed consisting of Bill Burt, Bruce Mandel, Leah Alexiadis, Joe Hellauer, and Tony Genovese to interview these candidates. And we hopefully will have a part-time fire marshal sometime in December. I'm told that Governor Malloy will be visiting Woodbridge on Monday at Amity High School to recognize that Amity High School is now on gas energy, and so hopefully we'll be there to welcome him and to talk about Woodbridge's gas coming to Woodbridge and this microgrid concept, which UI has identified Woodbridge and Stratford as possible locations for a microgrid situation, which would provide backup energy in case of a severe storm. There are a lot of things to be determined about that, one of which is the funding. But anyways, we're on the runway to be considered for that. And then finally, I'd just like to thank all our emergency services, police, fire, public works, human services, for the great work they did during the past storm. Everyone worked very well together. We recognized all of them at our meeting of the Board of Selectmen last night. And I think no one likes to be without energy or without electricity, but I think overall it was handled very well. And we want to thank our two liaisons from UI, Vinny Lazaro and Marissa Westbrook, both of whom live in Woodbridge and with whom we met every day before, after, during, and then after the storm. So that's my report.
Liaison reports. Amity met Monday night. Nothing earth-shattering going on. There is a meeting. I think I forwarded the notice to all of you. I think it's December 5th, talking about the regionalization issue. It's going to be at the high school. You can attend. I'm sure it'll be interesting. There seems to be some genuine interest in looking at it, certainly looking at moving to 6th grade, which would be a good idea, and overall regionalization, but it'll be discussed. It's December 5th, 5:30.
Do you know what time it is?
5:30, I believe.
Yeah, 5 or 5:30.
In the media room at the high school. So financially, there's nothing new. I guess they're in the process of looking at. I think it's with the town gas purchases with Titan
Correct.
Energy. I guess
Yeah.
they're looking at the deal.
Right. We have a regional purchasing cooperative to purchase
Yeah.
gas.
Yeah.
Right.
And of course, the big news this week was that Amity's serving special cookies this week. So that was all the news. So hopefully we can get that under control. Anything, Michael?
No, the fire commission meets on Monday.
Okay.
This coming Monday.
Ian?
No, I wasn't able to get to human services.
Andrew?
Meeting was canceled to the 5th of December.
Okay.
Next month.
Right.
I'm back.
Sandy?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well.
There goes your timeline, Karen.
The Library Commission met on Tuesday, and they reviewed the 2 bids that they received for the carpet, and they will go with the lower bid. That's what they will recommend, basically, in support. But they do want to go with broadloom now with carpet tiles. They feel that will actually last longer and look better. So they're anxious to get started on that. In terms of the director's report, I guess their teen librarian has really done a great job in terms of getting the kids to come and sponsor programs. So she's really to be commended. I mean, I think they had a session and there were 40 kids who came. And they did a lot of pizza, so they felt like that was a draw. But that's really terrific. I mean, to get 40 teens to come to the library, that's really wonderful. They were open extra hours during the storm, as many of hours as they could on the weekend, and there were lots of people who came. They did have electricity, and people used many of the rooms and locations for charging their phones, using computers, so it was really very helpful. There was a request to actually hire an adult page, which is the first time this has happened in a long, long time. And normally they have high school students who are the pages at the library. And the last 3 high school students they've been very good, but they've all now dropped out based on other commitments that they have. And they really have a need for these positions to be filled. So the commission did approve, 1 adult page, and want to make sure that this is not a trend, because it is a good opportunity for the kids to get exposed to what working in the library is. But so that actually was a very interesting discussion. Todd will actually be going to the ALA meeting in Seattle in January. And it's a very technology-based conference for the American Library Association, and he hopes to bring back a lot of good ideas. He also has a position on Lion, which is the library group for the state of Connecticut, and they're going to fund him going to the Innovative Users Group in San Francisco. So he's really developing a name for himself, and we have a lot to be proud of in terms of his position there as the director. And that's basically it for the library. And the Finance Committee for the Woodridge Board of Ed met on Monday. And everything actually is going along fine. They have a nice surplus from the perspective of the medical insurance rates that actually were very favorably negotiated. And they're projecting actually a bottom line right now of about $147,000. And again, it's early in the year, so it's not something that we can definitely count on. There is a possibility of increased special ed expenditures. And so Dr. Stella just wanted to make the committee aware of that. There is a deficit in extended day, and it has to do with enrollment. And they're looking into this and suggested that they maybe survey some of the parents in terms of what else would they like to see, why are they not using it, and they're going to track this carefully. I think one of the issues is that they actually, Extended Day gave a lot of money for the playground, so their reserve is lower than what we might anticipate. They don't feel that this will end up in a deficit for the year, but they're going to keep tabs on it. That's important to them. Dr. Stella said that he would like to try to consider a math program upgrade this year, so that if there is money to spend, that he would recommend to the board that they really look into doing that. He feels it's very necessary for the 4th and the 5th grades at this point. Their gas line conversion is on schedule, and they'll be ready on the 27th of December. They're going to finish out their oil usage the same way that the town will. They're very anxious to engage in the discussion about regionalizing the school district, but acknowledge that that will take many years to happen, even once there's approval for it amongst the 3 towns. The principal arrangement is working out very well. Mrs. White is doing great, has been very well received. And they are going through their budget building process right now. And Dr. Stella will share the demographics. They actually do have some new projections, and it's basically showing that they will remain stable. Initially, there had been projections for declining enrollment, and it appears that it will be stable for the next few years. And it won't be consistent in a certain age range, and it keeps jumping around from grade to grade. But he feels that they're not going to need to increase staff, but that he probably will not propose cutting any staff either because of those demographics. And he's very interested in moving the building committee recommendations forward and getting consensus on how to get that started. So that's my report.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, well, happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and I'll move adjournment.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you.